If you're hunting for a telescope that actually lets you stare at the rings of Saturn or the glow of a distant galaxy without spending a fortune on a professional-grade system, you've probably been scrolling through endless spec sheets wondering whether any of them will survive the night on a small balcony or a backyard that's more quick setup than dedicated observatory. The fear most of us share is buying something that looks impressive on paper but ends up being a handful to move, balance, or simply keep aligned while the sky darkens. You want something reliable, easy to live with, and worth the money, not just a product with a long feature list. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Celestron EdgeHD 9.25 is marketed as a 9.25-inch Schmidt Cassegrain that promises superior resolution and maximum light transmission. That sounds promising, but the real question is, does it deliver a smooth, repeatable experience for someone who isn't spending hours every night polishing mirrors or calibrating a motorized mount? I dug into the product's design, read up on the EdgeHD line, and mapped out where it actually shines and where it may leave you wishing for a simpler setup. First off, the core of this telescope is the aplanatic Schmidt Cassegrain design. In layman's terms, the optics are engineered to flatten the field and reduce coma, which means the stars you see near the edge of the view don't look like smudges. For a 9.25-inch tube, that's a big deal because many amateur telescopes of this size can become soft around the edges, especially at higher magnifications. The EdgeHD's Starbright XLT coatings also claim to boost light transmission, and in practice you'll notice a subtly brighter image when you're peering at faint nebulae like the Orion Nebula or the more delicate Messier objects. What makes the 925 feel a bit more everyday is its weight and length. At roughly 21 pounds and a 22-inch tube, it's light enough to fit into a mid-size car trunk, yet still feels solid once it's on the mount. That portability translates into a real-world advantage. You can actually take it to a dark site gathering without needing a truck or a crew. The included CGE dovetail plate means you can slide it onto most German equatorial or Altaz mounts without custom adapters, which saves you the headache of drilling new plates or buying third-party hardware. I've seen owners mount it on a Skywatcher EQ6 and on a sturdy Celestron CGEM, and the process is straightforward. Just slot the tube in, tighten the clamps, and you're good to go. Now, who should really consider the EdgeHD 925? The sweet spot is the serious hobbyist who wants a jump in aperture over a typical 80mm refractor but isn't ready to commit to a full-size 12-inch SCT or a Newtonian that demands a massive pier. If you already own a stable equatorial mount, or are willing to invest in one, and you plan to spend a few nights a month on deep sky astrophotography or high-power planetary work, this model fits nicely. The 2-inch luminous 23mm eyepiece that comes in the box is a decent starter for low-power, wide-field views, letting you scan large swaths of the Milky Way. Pair that with a 9x50 finder scope, and you get quick alignment without needing a separate star pointer module. Conversely, if you're a total beginner who only wants occasional low-power moon or planet watching, you might be better served by a smaller, more budget-friendly refractor. The EdgeHD's performance really shines when you push it using a 20mm ortho or a 0.9mm planetary series to resolve fine planetary bands or double stars. Without that intent, the extra aperture could feel like overkill, and the need for a good mount adds to the total cost. Also, if you're aiming for a truly portable walk-up telescope that you can just fling on a tripod in the backyard, the 21-pound weight might be a step too far. You'll still need a sturdy pier, and a shaky tripod will turn that high-resolution promise into a wobbling disappointment. One practical strength that often gets lost in the hype is the built-in finder scope. The 9x50 is larger than the petite 5x22 finders you see on entry-level SCTs, and that extra aperture makes it easier to locate faint star fields in light-polluted suburbs. You'll spend less time hunting for the target and more time actually observing. In addition, the EdgeHD's 2-inch focuser is a nice upgrade over the older 1.25-inch version. It accepts larger accessories like a batter planetary mask or a motorized focus controller, giving you more flexibility if you decide to get into astrophotography later. The mounting dovetail is also a practical benefit. I've watched owners swing the tube onto a sturdy wedge in under 5 minutes, which matters when clouds are rolling in and every minute counts. On the flip side, there are a couple of practical weaknesses that can bite you if you're not careful. First, the tube does not come with a motorized focuser, which means you'll be manually turning the focus knob during long sessions. With a 9.25-inch aperture, focus can shift noticeably as the temperature drops, and manual focusing